Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about something that nobody really talks about, all right? I'm going to talk about why you were drawn to the narcissist. A lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of times you were drawn to that narcissist because you felt something lacking within yourself. And a lot of people don't really realize this. You get into a relationship with a narcissist, and a lot of times people are always trying to make the relationship work. Why is that? Because the narcissist in the beginning made you feel so good, right? They gave you a lot of attention. They built up a fantasy in your head. They future faked you. They made you feel like they were your soulmate, that the two of you were going to be together forever. All right. But why did you fall so hard for that narcissist? All right. Today, we're going to do a podcast and really dive in deep about what it was internally that made you so drawn to that narcissist. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times you were drawn to that narcissist because there was something lacking within you. All right. People don't want to admit this, but a lot of times this is the truth. You were drawn to that narcissist, or you become trauma bonded to that narcissist, where even after the discard, you can't seem to let go of them. In your head, there's people that later on, a year later, 2 years later, tell me they still can't get over the narcissist, okay? And this is what I have to tell you. Number one, you're not seeing that narcissist for who they truly are. And number two, it could be because there's something lacking within you that caused you to be drawn or attached to that narcissist. How do I know this? Because I went through this, all right? So I'm going to get into the reasons that you were caused to fall for that narcissist and what was lacking in your own life that led you to a place where you were in this relationship with the narcissist and you took the abuse of the narcissist and you didn't walk away, or, you had a hard time with it. All right. The number one reason why you may have been drawn to that narcissist is loneliness. Okay. Loneliness. Maybe things weren't happening in your life. Maybe you were having a hard time meeting people. And in today's society, the hookup culture, it's very difficult to find people that are sincere, real, want something real, want a serious relationship. And lo and behold, here comes that narcissist. They swoop right in and they fill that void within yourself when you were lonely, okay? So this is why a lot of people fall for the narcissist, because they're lonely, all right? They don't want to be alone. And they see somebody that is, showing them fake love in the beginning. They don't know it's fake love, all right? But they give it a chance. They may even see red flags in the narcissist. But because that feeling within themselves feels good of having somebody, they let things go, okay? They let things go because you were addicted to that feeling that narcissist gave you, all right? They gave you that fake love. They gave you that fake attention, all right? The attention in the beginning, but then the attention doesn't last. They actually flood you with attention. The other big thing that drew you to that narcissist that, a lot of people didn't realize was the safety that they felt in the beginning with that narcissist. That narcissist made you feel safe in the beginning. You felt like this person was, there for you because they were calling you so much, keeping you on the phone, telling you everything you want to hear, pretending that they were your ride or die, and you felt a certain sense of safety. You felt security. But the irony in all of that is you feel safe in the beginning, but then at the end of the relationship, you feel very unsafe. Okay? A narcissist at the end of the relationship makes you feel unsafe, makes you feel insecure. Okay? So it was a false sense of safety that you felt. All right? Now, I'm going to bring up another issue that a lot of people don't talk about or a lot of people don't realize. A lot of times, victims of narcissistic abuse were also victims of other kinds of abuse, all right? Maybe you came from a narcissistic family, all right, where you didn't have love. People didn't show you the love that you deserve, a nurturing kind of love. Maybe you had a narcissistic mother or a narcissistic father where, either you feared them or they iced you out or they didn't validate you, all right? They made you feel alone. And that is another reason why you were drawn to that narcissist, because you were lacking that. You were lacking that love and that, again, the safety and security of something. And here comes the narcissist as your hero, pretending to make you feel whole, all right? You may have come from a situation of growing up where you never felt whole, all right? You never felt at peace. And because that narcissist made you feel so good, they also gave you a false sense of peace, safety, security. And this is what you were lacking inside yourself that caused you to be drawn to that narcissist and even trauma bonded to that narcissist, all right? So these are the things that drew you to the narcissist. Loneliness, you may have had loneliness. These are the things that were maybe lacking within yourself. You were lonely. You were lacking love in your life. They were giving you attention. You needed safety. You needed security. You didn't have these things maybe from growing up because of your situation, because maybe you came from a family situation where, there was abuse, neglect, or there was somebody in your family structure that was narcissistic, that emotionally abused you or even physically abused you. And all of these things make you vulnerable, okay? So when you were drawn to that narcissist, a lot of people who have a hard time getting over the narcissist were vulnerable people already before the narcissist even came in. And now the narcissist comes in and gives you that false sense of love, false sense of security. And it feels so good that when that narcissist discards you or causes a reverse discard, this is why people feel it really so deep. It's so cutting to them because they were lacking something within themselves that they felt that narcissist was fulfilling within them, all right? And so it's such a deep blow when that narcissist discards you, or you're at a point where you have to discard them, because it's like what you long for in your life to have that fulfillment within yourself just gets shot down. It gets shot down, all right? It's a huge, huge disappointment. And this is why people really have a hard time getting over the narcissist, because they thought that person was going to make them happy because, you guys, now listen, because they already were lacking that kind of happiness within their life, all right? And that's why the narcissist affected you so deeply. How do I know this? Because I have lived this, and I have introspected and thought this out about why the narcissist had such a deep impact on me, all right? Like when I was dealing with that malignant narcissist, why it had such a deep impact on me. Number one, when I got involved with the malignant narcissist, it was at a very low point in my life, all right? I was vulnerable at that time. I was lonely at that time, all right? And I was surrounded by cold people. I was not surrounded by love. And when this narcissist came in and love bombed me and made me feel good, that's what did it, okay? That's what did it. It's like my best friend from Chicago when I said, I'm so mad at myself for letting myself put up with what I put up with. And he said a very important thing to me. He said, well, you were vulnerable at the time. You were vulnerable at the time. He said, because if that was today, he said he would never have had a chance with you. And he's so right. And you know why, you guys? Because I have my power today. Because I know who the fuck I am as a person. All right? Back then, I was doubting myself because of all the abuse that I had gone through in my life. I became prey to the narcissist, and I didn't have my power back then, all right? I didn't have my power back then. And that's why I was so vulnerable, and that's why I let things go when I should have put up that boundary and walked away. See, when you're dealing with narcissists, you have to have boundaries. You have to be like, not today, Satan, and you have to be willing to walk away. But it's so hard when you're in a position of vulnerability or, you're thinking that the narcissist is your light, your angel of light coming in to just cut somebody off because maybe one thing they did that you didn't like, right? So you make excuses and you say, well, maybe they didn't know. Like with my narcissist, one of the narcissists I dealt with, the one I'm speaking about, the malignant narcissist, I always used to make excuses like, well, he didn't know. He had a rough childhood. He didn't know. Maybe if I showed him love, he would understand. No, he's never going to understand. He doesn't want to understand. His soul is already sold to the devil, all right? So it doesn't matter how nice I was to him. If anything, he was going to step on me more and more and more because he thought I was weak. All right? He thought I was weak. And it's not that you're weak. It's just that you're vulnerable. All right? It's a little different than being weak. You're vulnerable at the time because you're either going through something or you went through something. So you try to make it work with that person. This is what you're doing. You're trying to make it work with that person because that person made you feel so fucking good that you want to get back the feeling that you had. It's not that you loved that narcissist. You didn't love that narcissist. What you did love was the feeling that that narcissist gave you at some point in the relationship, usually in the beginning of the relationship. That's what you loved. You loved that feeling of being loved and that sense of security and safety and warmth, all right? And attention. That's what you loved. You didn't love that narcissist because how could you love somebody who was so wicked and who didn't love you? All right? Why would you love somebody who didn't love you? It was fake love. That's what it was. Okay? So here's what I have to explain to you guys. All right? The reason that I'm bringing this up because it is a very important aspect in your healing process. You have to look back on yourself, all right? A person who really wants to grow and get strong and be empowered has to look upon themselves and what they went through in your life. You've got to take time to look back on your life, think about it and study it and say to yourself, what did I go through in my life to make me feel so low at the point of when this narcissist came in that I took their bullshit, all right? Because normally you would never take that, right? You would never take that. but you had gone through something, obviously, in your life to have fallen so hard for that narcissist. There was something lacking within yourself. All right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. There was something lacking within yourself that you thought that narcissist was going to fulfill. But see, this is what I have to tell you. You are whole within yourself. God makes you whole. And you're not going to realize that till you've gone maybe to the pits of hell and been in the pits of hell and been on your own, that you realize that wholeness that you thought you were getting with that narcissist was never what you thought it was. Because you can never rely on mankind, okay? You don't rely on the flesh. You rely on the Spirit of God, all right? I had somebody come back at me and he said, I love your videos. I love your reels, but please don't talk about God or bring God into this. Well, I am going to bring God into this because God is a huge part of who I am today, all right? God was my strength that got me through things that I couldn't have gotten through without my faith and believing in God. God is what kept me grounded. God is what kept me strong when there wasn't anybody else around to keep me strong. So, yes, I'm going to bring God into it. You don't have to believe in God. I'm not preaching that people need to, forcing anybody to believe something that they don't want to believe. But I'm going to speak from my own experiences. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to speak from my own experiences. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. Then you don't have an open mind. Okay. You don't have to, you don't have to agree with me, but an open-minded person is a person who wants to learn and grow. All right. See, narcissists are not open-minded. They only want to see what they want to see. All right. But the point in all this, you guys, is this. Figure out what it was in yourself that made you fall for that. What was lacking in yourself that you thought that narcissist was going to fulfill, all right? And what you have to do is realize that you yourself can fill that void. You don't need the narcissist to make you feel complete, to make you feel whole, to make you love yourself. You don't need that narcissist because they're not going to do it. If anything, they're going to come in and they're going to tear you down, all right? Because that's what they are. They're demons. They destroy, and they want to destroy the light, the Holy Spirit light that's within you, all right? So this is what I have to say, all right? You have to this is how you get your power. You have to learn to walk in the truth and stay focused, all right? And that's how you build yourself up, and you're not codependent on the narcissist or anybody else. Because listen to me and listen to me good. When you become codependent on somebody else, you become at that person's mercy. And that's something that you never want to do. And especially when it comes to mankind, humankind, womankind, the flesh, all right? Because you can't rely on mortals, all right? That's true. You cannot. Even the most loyalist people in the world can turn. You know that, right? Even the most loyalist people in the world can turn. So the point is, God made you whole. That strength is within you. You didn't need the narcissist, but you may not have realized that at the time, or you may not have thought you couldn't live without the narcissist. But that power, that strength is within you. All right. I want you to know that you are a lot stronger than you even realize. You wouldn't know that unless you were really tested by God. See, I feel I was definitely tested by God for what I went through and the traumas that I went through and the issues also with dealing with autistic kids and the traumas of having to go through really bad things that, the trauma of that and in and out of hospitals and all of that and doing it on your own. There's a lot of mysteries when it comes to autism and doing it on your own and nobody to really confer with or nobody that wanted to even hear it about, these medications and the negative effect and the aggressiveness and all that you had to deal with, and you had to do it on your own. All right. And on top of that, be surrounded by people who had no empathy. Imagine that. People had no empathy, all right? And people tell me, oh, how do you know so much about narcissism? You guys should only know. I don't even podcast about what really I have been through, okay? Because it's a sensitive issue with a lot of people. So the point is that you are a lot stronger than you realize, all right? And that narcissist is going to fear you the minute that you realize that, okay? Because now they know they can't manipulate you, they can't play with you, they can't mess with you, because you have your power. You have your power. And when you got with that narcissist, or you fell for that narcissist, you may have been lacking something inside, and you felt that that narcissist was going to fulfill that emptiness inside you, all right? That lack of love that you had inside you. But what you have to realize is that you are whole yourself, and you don't need that narcissist, all right? So I'm on my preach today, you guys, okay? I'm on my preach, all right? But I'm speaking from the heart. You're a lot stronger than you realize, and realize what it was within yourself that, made you put up with what you put up with that narcissist. It was because there was something inside you that you were missing, and you were looking to that narcissist to fulfill it. But you got to make yourself whole. However you're going to make yourself whole, by, getting into yourself, your self-care, working on yourself, working on your career. You got to get yourself whole so that you don't become susceptible to a predator, a narcissistic predator. All right? You don't become codependent on them. So I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast, share the video. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. I have limited time and availability. Also, check out my YouTube. I lay it down on YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast. I have over 7,000 videos. There's a lot of information on my YouTube channel, a lot on covert narcissism, malignant narcissists, the games they play, the discard, the silent treatment, the triangulation, the word salad, narcissistic families. I go into a little bit, and, how they hate their children and all of that. It's all on my YouTube channel at the Game Exposed podcast. Facebook, Instagram is the Game EXP 123, and TikTok is the Game Exposed. And have a great day, you guys.